Ujamaa is a political ideology that formed the basis of the government of the first Tanzanian president, Julius Nyerere. It is also the fourth pillar in the holiday of Kwanzaa. In a literal sense, the word translates to familyhood, and that is no coincidence. Nyerere argued that the African principle of fraternity among the community, treating each other as if you are one extended family, intrinsically linked the continent to socialism, stating in his essay, Ujamaa, the Basis of African Socialism, "In traditional African society, everyone was a worker. There was no other way of earning a living for the community." That phrasing is important. In the Western world, we view work as a way to earn a living for the individual, but Nyerere talks about how work would help the community, essentially using tradition to argue for progress. He would also argue that the ideas of capitalism are completely foreign to African culture and traditions. Take this rather long section from the essay where he talks about the concept of land. To us in Africa, land was always recognized as belonging to the community. Each individual within our society had a right to the use of land, because otherwise he could not earn his living, and one cannot have the right to live without also having the right to some means of maintaining life. But the African's right to land was simply the right to use it. He had no other right to it, nor did it occur to him to try and claim one. The foreigner introduced a completely different concept, the concept of land as a marketable commodity. According to this system, a person can claim a piece of land as his own private property, whether he intends to use it or not. I could take a few square miles of land, call them mine, then go off to the moon. All I had to do to gain a living from my land was to charge a rent to the people who wanted to use it. If this piece of land was in an urban area, I had no need to develop it at all. I could leave it to the fools who were prepared to develop all the other pieces of land surrounding my piece, and in doing so, automatically raise the market value of mine. But Nyerere wasn't only critical of capitalism. He also argued against European-style socialism, viewing it as too attached to its conflict with capitalism. As prayer is to Christianity or to Islam, so civil war, which they call class war, is to the European version of socialism, a means inseparable from the end. Each becomes the basis of a whole way of life. The European socialist cannot think of his socialism without its father, capitalism. Brought up in a tribal socialism, I must say, I find this contradiction quite intolerable. It gives capitalism a philosophical status which capitalism neither claims nor deserves. For it virtually says, without capitalism and the conflict in which capitalism creates within society, there can be no socialism. This glorification of capitalism by the doctrinaire European socialists, I repeat, I find intolerable. But went further beyond simply advocating for a political system, believing that in order to truly be free from capitalism, you need to change your mindset in its entirety. Our first step, therefore, must be to re-educate ourselves to regain our former attitude of mind. How did Nyerere want to implement this? Well, he sought to nationalize various industries, turn the country into a one-party state that wasn't the kindest to people who disagreed, trying to begin the process of having all of Africa unite together. But his most unique policy implementation was the creation of the so-called Ujamaa villages, where Nyerere would have farmers of various varieties move into communal areas where they would share all the resources and profits from working together. And his ideas are still relatively popular in Africa, to the point where the term Ujamaa now is essentially a synonym for the word socialism in Swahili. If you want more than the Cliff Notes version, I highly recommend reading the actual full essay in the description below. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click that bell to notify when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, consider supporting me on Patreon.